Hey, I'm ZSH Plays, and we've spent the last month building a biological preserve, if you will, on the island of Isla Sorna, and today we're going to turn it into a functioning ecosystem, or that's the plan anyway, because we're not going to do it in a sensible fashion, selecting areas of the island that would be good for different groups of dinosaurs, placing them together there. We're going to be attempting to exactly recreate where the dinosaurs are on this island in The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3, and seeing what happens. This is the High Hide, and just behind it, the game trail, and this is where we're going to begin preparing this island for our dinosaurs. One of the key things that I want to achieve here is to try and keep the island looking as much as possible like it does here, rather than just immediately filling every space with all the different types of food that the dinosaurs need. We're going to try and change it as little as possible and see if we can get the dinosaurs to survive here. We have so many dinosaurs to add to our island, and we're going to be starting in this area with 12 Parasaurolophus, 10 Gallimimus, 9 Pachycephalosaurus, 3 Triceratops, 2 Mamenchisaurus, and later on 13 Compsognathus. So I'm trying to add in tiny amounts of the food that those particular dinosaurs need without ruining the look of the place. On the other side of the island is this new area, the big grassland that you see from the plane at the start of Jurassic Park 3. And here, as well as even more Triceratops, Parasaurolophus, and Pachycephalosaurus, we're going to have a massive herd of Corythosaurus, 4 Stegosaurus, and 3 Brachiosaurs. In order to determine how many dinosaurs to have, I've combined extensive research on how many dinosaurs there were here in the time of the films, with a study on the predator-prey ratio in the Cretaceous period, which we'll discuss in a minute. For now, we're at the deep river near the Avery, where we'll be adding yet more herbivores, including our first Ankylosaurus, and this will also be the home of one of the predator populations for Ceratosaurus. It's not just food that we need to place down, we need to make sure that we have appropriate nests for each dinosaur as well, so that hopefully they can start breeding. And with the deep river done, we can move on to the shallow river, where we'll have a family group of Stegosaurus. This river flows past the game trail, then the embryonics administration, then the large area of grassland that we saw. It then forms a waterfall just next to the Avery, before flowing down into the deep river and then out to the sea. I've tried to make a river system throughout the island that actually works like a real river system would, so the dinosaurs have lots of water sources. Here's the Avery. We're going to have 4 Pteranodon in here, and then 6 flying free around the island to match up with what you see in The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3. We will need to put a fish feeder in here, so the Pteranodons that stay in the Avery survive, to match how they were fishing in the river that runs through the Avery in Jurassic Park 3. For the free-flying Pteranodons, we need to do something a bit sneaky, so we're going to put an Avery down on a cliff top, put some nests in here, and then we can delete the Avery, and the game will leave the nests there, and they will be accessible for the Pteranodons. And then we'll just do some terrain painting to make this look more like a cliff top, and then we can move on to the beach. This is where one of our 4 populations of compies will live. I already put them a little nest on here when we built this back in episode 1, so I'm going to add another one in as well. Make sure they've got enough there, and there'll be small nests scattered all over the island for these guys. And then it's the airstrip. This is where Spinosaurus will begin. They eat fish from deep water, so we're going to put in a big pool next to the airstrip, which will then have a waterfall leading down into the river system. Hopefully this will provide enough food for her. According to everything I saw, there was only ever 1 Spinosaurus on the island, so this is the one dinosaur that definitely won't be breeding, but I'm thinking she's just going to cause some absolute mayhem while she's in here. As for the rest of the island, the worker village will be home to 11 Parasaurolophus and 13 compies, with the long grass just next to it home to a pack of 10 raptors. The Rex nest will contain, to begin with, 2 Tyrannosaurs called Buck and Doe. Thanks to those of you who pointed out if we colour the bin bags red and leave them above the ground, we can get the flies that we want in this nest. And finally, the embryonics lab will contain another pack of 6 raptors, this time with the Jurassic Park 3 skins, and 2 more Ankylosaurus. That's all the dinosaurs that we're having. It's time to start creating them. I've placed several temporary hatcheries around the island to go with the official hatchery that we have in the embryonics administration. We're going to begin with the herbivores, and we're basically going to pause the game, get all the herbivores ready using every bay across 3 or 4 hatcheries. We'll have them all in the Lost World skins where available, and the Jurassic Park 3 or Jurassic Park skins if not, or just create our own skins to get them as close as possible to the way that we want them to look. We're starting with the herbivores in order to make sure we get all of them out there and hopefully somewhat comfortable before we start introducing the carnivores into the equation. And then we'll unpause the game and hopefully my PC doesn't explode. Looking good, and we can start getting enormous amounts of dinosaurs onto the island. Here come the Parasaurolophus. They're going to be one of the most important herbivores on this island because there's going to be a lot of them. So let's talk about how many of each different dinosaur we're going to have. I used Jurassic Legacy to research how many of these dinosaurs were on the island at the time of the Lost World and or Jurassic Park 3. And then according to a study I found on the predator-prey ratio in the Cretaceous period, which if you're not aware of that is how many prey animals you need to sustain a population of predators. According to their research, you needed 100 herbivores for every 4 T-Rexes. So as well as our 2 Rexes, if we count each group of carnivores, the raptors and the Ceratosaurus, and the Spinosaurus as 1 Rex, then we have 6 Rexes, and we need 150 herbivores on the island. And luckily I found if we just divide the number of the groups of herbivores in half, we will end up with just over 150 herbivores altogether, which works very nicely. So that's how many we're having. However, straight away we're encountering our first problem. If we look at our Momentosaurus here, they are not happy at all. They have nowhere near the amount of food that they need, despite all the appropriate food I've added around the margins of this area. Because like I said at the start, I don't want to ruin the look of the island by covering it in all the food plants. And as this ecosystem progresses, what I've discovered is that the amount of food that the dinosaurs require to be comfortable is very different from the amount of food they actually require to live. By the time the herbivores are spread across almost the entire island, most of them are still not at full comfort, yet in the entire time that this ecosystem exists, not a single herbivore died from starvation, so they must by definition have enough food. The game just seems to want you to put more in than they need. That is going to have big ramifications for the amount of successful breeding we can have on this island, but that's fine because the whole point of this is not to create the perfect ecosystem, but to see if we can get the ecosystem that you see in the Lost World to function. We're on to the second load of herbivores here. 3 hatcheries with all the upgrades installed was not enough to get all our herbivores done. We're going to be introducing the Stegosaurus, Corythosaurus, and many others over to the new grassland area, the deep river, the worker village, and the long grass. I cannot wait to get all these dinosaurs in. I've been playing Jurassic World Evolution since the first game, and we've never had the ability to make a proper ecosystem before, so it's going to be so interesting to see what happens. You can see it's absolute carnage here, trying to get all the dinosaurs in. Probably should have used some more landing pads. And as the island starts to fill up, you can see the dinosaurs are starting to find the river systems and base their habitats around there. The brachiosaurs are already doing nicely in this valley. And that is all the herbivores done. Let's move over to the aviary and start introducing the pteranodons. This is probably my favourite part of the park, and we're going to start here with 4 of the Jurassic Park 3 pteranodons. Here they are. They'll be living in the aviary, and then on the outside we'll have the Lost World pteranodons. Here's the first one here. They'll be free-flying, and there's just something about having animals actually flying above the island that we've created that just looks so amazing. They just bring another dimension to it. I love it. Our Isla Sorna is really starting to come together now, and with our flying reptiles in, now we can move on to the carnivores. First up is the Spinosaurus. She seems pretty shy at first, but that is quite an entrance. She immediately makes her way down to the deep lake that we made for her at the start. We've got Buck and Doe, our T-Rexes, starting off at the T-Rex nest, and then 4 Ceratosaurus into the deep water near the aviary. Next up, down by the workers' village, are our Lost World Velociraptors. And on the other side of the mountain in the middle of the island, the Jurassic Park 3 raptors are coming in. This pack will take up residence around the embryonics administration, like in the film, although who knows where they'll end up. And then finally, our little compies. These will be scattered all over the island. The first group will take up residence here on the beach, probably the most peaceful place on the island, although I worry about them finding anything to eat here. And now our ecosystem is in place. There are dinosaurs covering the whole island. Who will thrive? Who will survive? Let's find out. Already I am in love with scenes like this from just above the aviary with the Corythosaurus walking through the background down the river. The herbivores are really starting to establish themselves now. You can see a Parasaurolophus in the background now. But we have some new arrivals on the island. The predators are starting to find out where the prey is. Let the carnage begin. We have our first interaction. Oof, and the first thing I'm noticing is that the Stegosaurus really pack a punch. That Ceratosaurus will probably not be trying that again. Aside from it being an interesting thing to attempt, one of the main reasons that I've placed all the dinosaurs where they are in the films is so we can see things like this, with the Ankylosaurus and the Parasaurolophus by the river near the aviary, the raptors walking through the ruined embryonics administration. It's so evocative of the films, and it's a lot of fun to watch. If we take an overview of the whole island now, you can just see some Parasaurolophus walking through the river down there, and it really starts to feel like the Lost World. Something important has happened as well. We have our first juvenile dinosaurs. The Gallimimus are the first to breed, and they have a lot of babies, so I think that's going to stand them in good stead for their survival in this ecosystem. Sadly, on the other side of the park, we have our first extinction. The Mamenchisaurus have already been hunted down by the T-Rex. This is the last survivor, and he has about 2 seconds of life left. There's another sauropod doing much better though, the Brachiosaur. They have also bred. They're so powerful, for the moment they seem to be impervious to all the predators on the island. And speaking of predators, the raptors predictably are doing very well. They are happily eating their way through the Parasaurolophus throughout the island, and the two packs are quickly spreading out from the workers' village in the embryonics administration where they started. They've yet to breed though, and that brings us on to a major problem with our ecosystem. The presence of so many major carnivores on this island, our T-Rex for example. If we take a look at Doe here, you can see that they have a cohabitation issue due to the fact that they hate velociraptors, and velociraptors hate the T-Rex. And this means that despite the fact that they are both easily finding food and have huge areas to roam in, neither of them are breeding. In fact, the Rexes seem to be more interested in fighting with each other than partaking in any romantic activities. So the success of each group of predators is going to come down to who lasts the longest. If our Rexes can outlive the Raptors, then the Rexes will start to breed. They could become the champions of this island, or maybe the Raptors will do it. Meanwhile, we have another breeding success, the free-roaming Pteranodons. They've had a little bit of help, because believe it or not, I didn't realize the flying reptiles could hunt in this game. I have never done a big ecosystem build like this before, so I gave them a little fish feeder, and then I saw this happening. This is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in this game, a Pteranodon hunt. I'd written them off as piscivores, as the game tells you that they are, but turns out, as I'm sure most of you already know, that they can hunt land animals very nicely. This Gallimimus is finding that out at the moment. Although being able to fly, I kind of feel like the Pteranodons are at a bit of an advantage over all the other animals in the game, as they essentially face no predation themselves here. And there's another dinosaur that is definitely not having an easy time of it, the Compsognathus. In real life, the Compsognathus ate small reptiles, lizards and things like that. In the game, they are scavengers, and although we've got quite a lot of predators on this island, they are struggling to find enough to scavenge. Their numbers are depleting, although nothing goes to waste on Isla Sorna. This raptor is very happy with his little compy snack, but somebody who isn't happy is the Spinosaurus. For some reason, despite having a large, deep lake full of fish, which she was very happy in for the first few months, she decided to wander in the opposite direction down towards the river, and then on her way back starved to death within sight of the lake. There's another struggling dinosaur here, the Triceratops. This is the last Triceratops on the island. Most of them, like this one, have fallen foul of the T-Rex. They were another animal that didn't breed. It is a cutthroat world here on Isla Sorna, with all the dinosaurs being placed in their movie-accurate positions rather than positions that make sense from an ecological perspective. There are only a handful of dinosaurs breeding, and the species are dropping like flies. This was not what I was expecting, though. Buck has been taken down by one of the Stegosaurus. I said they were powerful, and it looks like I was right. We are down to just one Tyrannosaur left on the island, and that means the quest for who will reign as the top predator here is now a straight fight between the Velociraptors and the Ceratosaurus. The Raptors are still doing pretty well, they're still covering the whole island, but we're down to just one Ceratosaurus. This one got lost out on the coast and starved to death, and this one... Okay, we have no Ceratosaurus. It's down to Doe and the Velociraptors, who will last the longest. Across the island, the Brachiosaurs are still doing really well, successfully breeding, and I haven't seen a single one lost to predation yet. And whilst the numbers of the other herbivores are thinning out, there's still a lot of them left on the island, in little pockets here and there. At the Embryonics Administration Centre, we've got Corythosaurus, Gallimimus, Pachycephalosaurus, and a few Parasaurolophus still hanging on. And if we continue to have enough herbivores for the predators to eat, then whoever can hang on longest out of Doe and the Velociraptors will become the top predators on the island. The Ankylosaurus may have something to say about that, though. They're proving just as powerful as the Stegosaurus, and suddenly the Velociraptors are extinct. The Ankylosaurus did for 3 of them, and a pair of Stegosaurs did for these 4, I'm actually surprised the enormous effect the Stegosaurus has had on the ecosystem here, and that leaves Doe, at least temporarily, as the queen of Isla Sorna. Due to the breeding issues, when she dies, whether that's from old age or from being taken out, the only remaining predators on the island will be the pteranodons, although with the help they've had from their fish feeder, I don't think they can be counted. And that is Isla Sorna as a movie-accurate ecosystem. It did not turn out the way I expected, but with just one land predator left, a whole load of herbivores, and 4 of those herbivores happily breeding, it looks like Isla Sorna belongs to them. This entire island is now on the workshop. Check the description for the download code, and maybe you can make your own more successful ecosystems with some clever placement of the dinosaurs. I'll be back with our first original park very soon. Until then, thanks for watching. Bye.